Every so often, players come across a discovery in a video game that clearly no one was ever meant to find, even at times creating an enormously embarrassing situation for the developer in the aftermath of the discovery. This is why today we're diving into the top 10 craziest discoveries in video games that no player was ever intended to find. Part 3. Brought to you by Dashlane. Atlas. Earlier this year, Studio Wildcard launched their massive multiplayer game Atlas, their hugely hyped second game following their highly popular prehistoric adventure Ark Survival Evolved. Wildcard boasted Atlas as the next big step for the studio, touting epic sea warfare and rigorous first-person combat against gargantuan enemies in a vast environment that could hold 40,000 players at once. And this is what they actually got.
What the is going on?
About an hour to do.
What the f?
It's pretty rough, dude.
Atlas was so not what players were promised that the community joked that for Atlas, Studio Wildcard must have just reskinned and copy and pasted over their original game Ark Survival Evolved, which hit a little too close to home when streamer Mucka noticed that there was an invisible fourth option hovering at the bottom of Atlas's pause menu, which when selected revealed the settings menu for the original Ark Survival Evolved.
And you're in an Ark menu! Hello! We're playing Ark Survival Evolved.
This discovery quickly imploded the Atlas player community, who felt promised a fully fledged next level experience from Studio Wildcard and were instead given a quick mod of an already 3-year-old game.
What's going on? How do you like this game so far?
However, Wildcard really began to live up to its name weeks later when a number of strange discoveries began to show up all across the game's environment. Beginning when Twitch streamer Burke Black was suddenly bombarded by 8 killer whales at the same time.
What the sh**?
Whoa!
There's whales everywhere!
Spawned whales!
Which quickly became much more disconcerting when a random World War II plane came crashing out of the sky.
What the hell was that?
Leaving Burke Black in total silence.
Oh,
Where?
jeez.
Meanwhile, Atlas's subreddit suddenly flooded with players finding World War II vehicles all across the game world, with many strange AI behaviors that outright confused players. In response, Studio Wildcard claimed the World War II vehicles were not the result of a hack or a game mod as players suspected, and were instead the result of somebody getting into one of the game's administrative accounts and spawning the ready-made game assets in. Because of course there would be ready-made World War II vehicles in a game about being a pirate. All I'm saying is don't be surprised if a Studio Wildcard World War II game comes out next year and we find out it has another hidden Ark menu inside of it.
We're playing Ark Survival Evolved.
Super Smash Bros. Brawl. A purple dragon came to me with a discovery on my Discord server explaining that they wanted to memorize all the costumes of each character in Smash Bros. Brawl, and decided that an easy way to do so would be to go through all the files of all the characters in the game, when they noticed something that struck them as odd on Princess Peach's model. Apparently one of the textures for Peach's golf club in the files is actually a pixelated AR-15. Of course, I had to check this out for myself. I downloaded Peach's model file from Smash off of the model's resource, and sure enough, there it was right in front of my face under the file Apply Peach K5 Golf S. Well, I guess it's true what they say. Don't mess with the princess unless you want to get pressed to the chest with an AR-15. Not sure why Peach ever needed Mario's help if she was packing that kind of heat this whole time. Halo 2. Thanks to my friend and YouTuber GameCheat13 for sharing this discovery with me on my Discord server. GameCheat13 found that by modding Halo 2's data, he could reinstate a cut sprint ability that was originally supposed to be in the game, a feature that didn't actually appear in the series until 4 games later. While giving the cut sprint ability a go with every weapon in the game, he came across something never meant to be found when he used the cut ability with 2 dual-wielded SMGs. Nice. While the discovery was likely intended as a joke amongst Bungie, the whole thing shows once again that Bungie has always been on the cutting edge, as sprinting didn't become a staple in first-person shooters until way after Halo 2's release. And the ability to give the bird during gameplay is essentially the precursor to the Fortnite emote. True genius when you think about it that way. Oculus. In April of this year, Facebook's head of VR product development issued an apology on Twitter after being brought to the attention of several disturbing hidden messages that were printed on the innards of tens of thousands of Oculus controllers that actually made their way into retail. Messages included "This space for rent," "The Masons were here," and "Big Brother is watching," a reference to George Orwell's dystopian over-surveillance novel 1984, as well as a rather bold reference to Facebook's own controversial practices concerning the handling of its users' data.
Would you be comfortable sharing with us the name of the hotel you stayed in last night?
Although Mitchell claims the joke occurred somewhere in the assembly as a process error, it's definitely not reassuring to know that Facebook is being so callous about poking fun at the expense of its users' privacy. Well, it gives me enough reason to go ahead and delete Facebook. Final Fantasy 15. While I previously discussed Final Fantasy 15 players finding a way to glance at some unintended fan service, data miners were also in for a surprise when they went through all the character models in the game and found two mysterious, highly detailed new models that couldn't be found anywhere else in the game. The first one belonged to Gontiana, which if I had to guess is only here as the result of some really lonely late nights in the developer office. However, things take a shift when we look at the second highly detailed nude model, which belongs to the random, much more mature non-player character, Camellia Claustra. I know you probably weren't wanting to see that, sorry. Why of all the Final Fantasy 15 characters in the game was Camellia one of two characters found in this fully detailed nude state? Left the Final Fantasy 15 community questioning what the model's purposes even were, perhaps even suggesting an Easter egg that's never been found to this day. Unfortunately, I don't think that's an Easter egg anyone's super eager to find. Shin Megami Tensei. Thanks to Casey the Sage for also sharing this very odd discovery with me on my Discord server. Shin Megami Tensei is the extensive 3-decade-old international RPG franchise, more popularly known for its Persona sub-series. This find takes us all the way back to the very first game on the Super Nintendo, where data miners found in the game files these especially disturbing sprites of Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck that don't appear anywhere else in the game. Fortunately, it's pretty easy to piece together this time why these horrifying versions of Mickey and Donald are here and why they were removed. Exclusive to the PC Engine build of the game, players can enter Tokyo Destinyland, an obvious parody of Tokyo Disney World, and come across two enemies only on the PC Engine version, which are clearly much more ambiguous designs of the original blood-curdling Mickey and Donald. Considering no one's had more influence over copyright law than Disney in the last 100 years strictly over the copyright protection of the mouse alone, it's pretty clear why the developers didn't want anyone to find these disturbing designs. But Mickey's copyright is due up in 5 years, so unless Disney manages to somehow intervene again with the copyright law, looks like Atlas will finally have the chance to make their own twisted version of Kingdom Hearts here soon. Fallout 76. Previously, I discussed how players found access to the developer room of Fallout 76 and received insta-bans that sparked a backlash in the 76 community. Not like it was the first. Well, shortly after, a few months ago, Redditor Mistaken found access in the still unreleased, clearly unfinished Vault 96, which he said he managed to fall in as a complete accident. Right. Assumedly as an attempt to protect himself against Bethesda's heavy-handed ban hammer. Inside, he found an environment with some things clearly never meant to be found, with terminals featuring unused developer text including flavor text to be written, and nice work assholes. Damn, is this how Bethesda communicates to each other? No wonder 76 is such a mess. Homefront, The Revolution. In 2016's Homefront, The Revolution, in the restricted zone area of the game, players found an arcade cabinet at the top of the map that featured 2 levels from the original Timesplitters 2. While players thought this was a pretty nifty Easter egg, data miners uncovered a much more unusual mystery regarding the inclusion of the 2 levels, as they were able to find the entirety of Timesplitters 2 in the data of Homefront Revolution with every single asset of the game completely remastered from the ground up, all just sitting right there unused on the disc of Homefront. No HD remaster announcement of Timesplitters has ever surfaced to this day, and curiously similar remastered files could be found in Homefront relating to the game's Future Perfect and Second Sight. Ironically, in 2018, Homefront publisher Deep Silver announced they had acquired the rights to the Timesplitters series, so we know if they announce another Timesplitters HD remaster, we might just have another Atlas situation all over again. The Walking Dead. On day 1 of Season 2 Episode 5's launch, the Walking Dead player community was shocked and confused when PS3 owners had discovered a third option during the scene that couldn't be executed on any other platform, in which Clementine could shoot Mike. Wow, that looked great. Why this hidden execution was an exclusive feature to the PS3 was a mystery until the next day, as the discovery was immediately patched out of the game by a developer, implying that the sequence was never meant to be found in the first place. Although why exactly the scene was removed was never given an official answer. A simple explanation would be that they decided that killing off Mike was a bad idea at the last minute. Or maybe they just thought it looked dumb as hell. I'd believe it. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. 1 week after the release of Lara Croft's latest adventure, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a user by the name of Tombstone posted a mystery on the official Tomb Raider forums asking, "Nobody's brought up the letter Lara gets from Natla yet? Would Natla be the villain in the next games maybe?" Given that Natla was the villain of the first Tomb Raider and hadn't had a reference or appearance in a Lara Croft game in a decade, nobody had any clue what the hell Tombstone was talking about, and proceeded to lambast him as a troll for several hours. Finally, after hours of endless roasting, Tombstone re-emerged with a new video and a new post stating, "I had to replay the whole damn game again, so I hope you cows call me a troll and a liar eat some humble crow pie." In the link Tombstone provided, they watched an alternate post-credit sequence where indeed a swift moment in the scene revealed Lara receiving a letter from Natla. Still not convinced, many players still believe that the footage was fake, or modded in some way, as there was no way nobody else had found such a discovery up until this point. It wasn't until developer Eidos Montreal came forward with a statement did those dubious change their tone. Turned out the ending was never meant to be found at all, as it was actually patched out of the game with the game's day one patch. And it turns out Tombstone only found the ending himself because of problems regarding his internet. The official explanation left the community legitimately confused by the last minute omission of the sequence, as well as legitimately embarrassed by their own treatment of Tombstone after Discovery turned out to be true after all. While Natla's future in the Tomb Raider series at this point isn't looking particularly hot, Tombstone's fate in the Tomb Raider forums was met with apology and appreciation, as excavating Shadow of the Tomb Raider's most elusive ending is definitely a discovery that would have made Lara proud, even though he only found it because his internet just as none of these developers ever wanted any of these discoveries to be found. Don't forget that some pretty strange stuff went down in Atlas, like a whale plummeting out of the sky and crushing a random streamer's ship, all because somebody managed to get into one of the accounts over at Studio Wildcard. So far it's made for an incredibly awkward situation for the studio, which may be why you want to save yourself from the same embarrassment with the extra level of security that Dashlane provides. Dashlane can be your one-stop shop for your digital identity by managing all your passwords so that you don't have to. Dashlane works across all devices including Apple products, PCs, Android, Safari, and Chrome. Dashlane also has a secure autofill feature that works for personal information and credit cards, saving you time when shopping online. A VPN to prevent prying eyes from tracking and helping you access content anywhere, plus dark web monitoring to see if your information is being bought and sold illegally. To give it a try for free, go to dashlane.com/oddheader and use my promo code oddheader to get 10% off if you want to upgrade to premium. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please subscribe. And if you know of any other video game discoveries or mysteries that shouldn't have been found, please submit in the comments down below or submit to oddheader.com. And in the comments, please leave the hashtag OddDiscoveries. It will make it a lot easier finding your comment if you have something to share. Definitely let me know any haunting discoveries you may have for the upcoming Halloween season. This video is especially dedicated to Van Yell. Hope I got your name correct. Shout out to Alexander Knight, Acro Gamer Mexicano, Burberry Billow, Dan Duvale, Daniel Lopez, Download System D, Emery, I Fart in Elevators, Igor.hxc, J-Day, Nelson Job, Nestude, Nick, Pestlun Sleeper, Rage Spot, Riley S, Riverside Renegade, Select, Spencer I Rule at Games Geller, Towerizer, Van Yell, and Wade Murdoch for their Patreon support. Stay tuned.